Windows 10 is not about an operating system. Windows 10 represents the culmination of years of effort on the part of Microsoft and its cronies to create artificial barriers, walls, and restrictions within the PC platform and to wrest power from the end user and place it squarely into the hands of the developer. The problems are widespread and their implications are grim. Let's talk about the why first. Why is Microsoft doing this? Why push a system which has received so much backlash? It is the same reason Microsoft intended to force bundle the Kinect sensor with every Xbox One console on release until its consumers created such an uproar that they were forced to backpedal. Now, rest assured that the same minds who devised that scheme are still very much vying after the same goals. Why does a Kinect sensor matter? Why were people upset? Well, beyond the obvious note in cost, we have a deeper, darker layer which is far more potentially damaging and devious. We live in the aptly named Age of Information. Information is everywhere today. Computers, phones, televisions, refrigerators, light bulbs. Literally anything that has a sensor of any sort can be used for surveillance. We are alive in what is by far the most remarkable and anomalous period in human history. We have seen a literal explosion of technological advancement which has brought into existence many wonderful things. Electricity, at the core of all of these, is a surprisingly recent invention, and in terms of its widespread use, it is less than 100 years old. Over the last 30 years, we've been blessed with the World Wide Web, one of the most powerful and wonderful inventions in the world's history in terms of connecting people and sharing ideas. The smartphone, a pocket-sized computer that has the horsepower of what would have filled an entire room not too long ago. It fits in the palm of your hand and allows you to access the great sea of the internet's information. Signals travel at light speed to satellites orbiting the Earth and retrieve data in seconds that might have taken years to find before the advent of the internet. What's wrong with this picture? Well, the fact that your phone is not purely a benevolent actor. Your phone and all of its activities are constantly monitored and processed. You might think, well, there's no way they could ever look through all that data. And with that statement, you'd be slightly correct, but also unimaginably wrong. Further, the response, which has become fairly popular, is, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not hiding anything. I have nothing to hide. I have nothing to worry about if they look into my life. Now, I disagree with that notion as well, because I know, and you should all grow to be aware of the dangers that such a statement made in ignorance represents. That statement, in and of itself, though innocent, though made with all the best intentions in the world, it strips away our privacy. It strips away our rights. Now, if you don't believe me that this is an affront to our privacy and to our rights as human beings, just try this for me. Go out on the street today with a video camera and just tape people at random. Just stick it in their face. Just show them. What response will you get? I don't give you permission to videotape me. Don't videotape me. They might push you. They might attack you for doing such. Now, why is it okay that the thing that you carry around all day long is doing the same thing? And someone you'll never meet, that you'll never be able to push away, that you'll never be able to place blame on, sitting in an analyst's desk, all they're doing is watching you. If you say something that is perceived as against the status quo or somehow inflammatory or somehow dangerous, An analyst will be listening. Now you think back to that thought where you said to yourself, oh, there's no way they can look through all that data. Well, now let's put these things into perspective. We spoke at the beginning about the very unimaginably rapid growth and explosion of technology. So too, with that technology comes better processors, more effective algorithms for searching for things. Now, if you say a key phrase or group of words or word that is considered sensitive or undesirable, then an analyst will be notified, your conversation will be flagged in its place in the recording, and they will listen. They will see the content, they will listen, and they will determine whether or not it was dangerous. Now you think, oh, that's ridiculous, there's so many. No, it's actually quite a simple thing. When you can break down the millions and millions and millions of conversations, and you can group them, and it's not a person that's grouping them. As I mentioned, these are algorithms. These are specially designed computer programs whose job is simply sort. Make this easier. Take this massive amount of data and turn it into something palatable that an analyst would be able to look at and say, oh yes, this guy, I'll look into this, I'll listen to this. And perhaps at the time of my recording this, someone could be listening. And I have no way of knowing. I have no way of asking. I have no way of showing my outrage. I have no way of trying to argue this practice. And that, in my mind, and I don't know about you, we all have our own opinions, but in my mind, that is wrong. We as human beings have a right to our privacy. We have a right to our ability to simply exist, to have a closed door behind which our life is private. Now, technology being a beautiful thing, it allows us access to the world. It allows us access to any information. As I said earlier, information that takes seconds today would take years to find. You might have to go to a library. The library might not have the information you're seeking, so you might have to look through all sorts of documents to find the document that it is that you're looking for. Now just imagine that. Just imagine how much easier it is to find information, to access information today. And that's for us, as the end users. We don't have powerful systems specifically designed to find things, to sort things. The best window that we have into such powerful technologies is Google. It has become synonymous with to search. You don't say, I'm gonna look this up on the internet. Hold on, I need to dogpile that. Hold on, I need to ask Jeeves. No, we don't say that. Literally, the colloquial term for search has become Google. Now why? Because Google uses very complex, mind-bogglingly complex algorithms to search through and sort all sorts of information so that what you receive is tailored specifically to you. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine how complex an algorithm you would need in order to take all of the internet, all of it, well, all of the internet that is referenced by Google, and sort it, not just for some search result, but no, that search result is uniquely tailored to you. You're sitting on your computer and you want to know about some country, you want to know about some news event. So you Google it. There I go, using that colloquial term that's synonymous with searching. Google it. You use Google, and Google returns a set of results which are entirely different than the results your neighbor might get, that somebody down the street might get, that somebody in another state might get, that anyone else in the world will receive. That's all of the internet being boiled down to something that is uniquely for you. Can you imagine that? And you're telling me that using a similar algorithm, you couldn't boil down phone calls, texts? It's ridiculous. It's absolutely absurd to think. With voice recognition being as good as it is, and with the ability to parse that data and to search through it so quickly that you wouldn't even believe it. It's as simple as that. You're telling me that it's not possible. That's absurd. That's ignorant. That's blind, is what it is. And I don't mean to insult you, but let's continue. Now, the original goal of this speech was to talk about Microsoft and what they are doing with Windows 10 and why it is that Windows 10 scares me. Now, using a smartphone, you have literally no rights. You have nothing. Nothing. Think about that. You have nothing. Every single app that you access, every single bit of data that is being transmitted from your phone can and will be processed. It will be. Now, with a system like, say, a computer, you still have some sorts of privacy. When you're not connected to, say, a network, and items that are solely on your hard drive can't just be accessed. Whereas on a phone, they can, and they are. Now, what Windows 10, its real aim, it's not to be an operating system. It's not to do something different, because I think we can all agree that Windows 8, when it first came out, the only real difference was the stupid little start menu applet that is designed for tablets. Now, why would they do that? Why would they try and streamline an operating system for use on tablets when we have keyboards and mice and we have all sorts of interfaces that we don't need that stuff? We can get along just fine without it. Well, they have a reason, and it is what has become Windows 10. They want to unify all platforms. Now, you think about that, and you're like, man, that sounds pretty awesome. I'd like to play, Halo or something like that. And Halo's kind of old hat now, but you get the idea. I was just thinking Microsoft exclusive. I want to play some game with my friends. They only have the Xbox One, or they only have a smartphone, or they only have a computer, whatever it is. And you're like, yeah, I want to play with them. That's so cool. Now, I agree with you. That is cool. Oh, are you kidding me? That sounds amazing. But the real reason doesn't have anything to do with that. The reason that Microsoft is pushing this, the reason that Microsoft is spending so much money, it's not to make you and Billy Joe down the street be able to play Tetris together or whatever inane nonsense you want to waste your life doing. And I'm not insulting that. I play games too, but it is a waste of time, and I recognize that. Now, the real reason that they're doing this is to unify the platforms means that the computer, this personal computer, which currently still has some sort of rights, that still has some sort of privacy. When you're on this thing, you have some sort of privacy. It's not much, but it's something. And they want to get rid of that. They want to peel away that last bit of privacy. By having everyone on the same platform, there is no argument to say, well, it's different than a phone. No, it's not. All it is hardware accessing software and running programs. Same thing. So, Go to Congress, try and tell them, oh, but we need rights on the computer. No, you don't. No, same thing. Phone doesn't need rights. You know, your gaming console doesn't need rights. It's the same thing. Operating system's an operating system, and it's using... Why is your operating system different than Billy Joe's operating system on his Xbox One or on his phone? It's running the same proprietary software. What's the difference? And that, my friends, is, in a nutshell, the goal. Now, why is that a problem? Why does that scare me so greatly? Why is it that I'm a fan of Windows. I think Windows is a very good operating system, at least up until 7. Why is it that I, as a fan of Windows, have dedicated myself to the point where as soon as Windows 7 is no longer supported by Microsoft, which is coming in 2017, that I will be switching to a Linux kernel? Why? Because I cannot stand for that. I cannot allow my data, my privacy, to be ripped away from me. And it's not done. It's not done all at once. It's little by little. It's like the pawns moving in a chess game. One moves, you're like, oh, whatever, it's just a pawn. Who cares? I got a queen, I got a knight, I got rooks, I got, bishops, I got all this stuff, man. My king is safe. But a few moves later, those pawns can become a real threat. Little by little, they encroach. Little by little, they strip away the defenses of your king. And little by little, those little trades that you make, privacy for security, little by little, everything that you have loved, everything that you have cherished is gone. All taken away. And by the time that this happens, you have no recourse. You have no means of trying to fight back. You have no means of trying to argue, because by the time that you realize, hey, you're the lobster in the pot that's slowly coming to a boil, and you're like, man, I'm dying. What's going on? It's too late. The bills you should have been fighting happened 20 years ago. What now? What do? How do you fight it? You can't. And that is why this scares me so much. Because this isn't just some minor step. This isn't about playing together or interfacing together, because that could be done. It's been done. This is about unifying the platforms so that the rights are the same. And the rights are the same as 0. You have no rights. And given that we are in the information age, giving away all of your information just freely, left and right, and giving away this information in a way such that it is vulnerable to being hacked, to being stolen, to being compromised, seems kind of stupid to me. It seems kind of illogical, kind of irresponsible. Yet we're doing it. So I ask you, whoever you are, wherever you are, to say no, to try and argue this, because we're that lobster. We're boiling, man. We're quickly approaching the point where it will be far too late. And we've got to stand, because if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. It's a beautiful quote. And that's where we are right now. We're so wrapped up in our social media and our Facebook likes and our Twitter reposts and our followers and our views and all of this, that we forget that we're people. That we forget that we have lives outside of these devices that are very important, that are us. But we've created this artificial shell around ourselves, our social media identity, so to speak. And that's all we care about. As long as we have that identity, what does the rest of it matter? It matters. Trust me, it matters. If you want to be able to access information freely, that is untampered with, that is not controlled, that is not boiled down to the point where it's exactly what someone, you don't know who, wants you to see. I don't want that. I don't think that that's a world that I want to live in, especially when technology is not slowing down, my friends. It is accelerating. Exponential growth. All I'm asking, and in conclusion, is that you be wary and you understand that not everything that's given to you freely, Windows 10 was a free operating system. I didn't take it. I'm not upgrading. Because not everything that's given to you freely, that's given as a gift, is good. Is this our Trojan horse? Perhaps. Be smart. Be educated. Don't just worry about what your friends think or what your neighbors will think. Worry about the future. Because the present isn't that important. The future is what matters. If we sit and we destroy our Earth and we sit idly by while our entire environment, we've seen it just this year. Are you kidding me? Did anyone else have their eyes open during this winter? In the Northeast, a place, we would normally have snow. We didn't have snow until after New Year's. Not even a single snowflake. Oh, how sad. How sad, how sad. And when last year was by far the hottest year on record, when we had record snowfall, it was very, very anomalous, very strange, if you were studying weather and you were trying to understand what's going on, you would see that and you'd be like, man, that's weird. We were a degree Celsius global average temperature above the average for the last 30 years. Is that strange to you? It's kind of strange to me. Kind of a worrying trend, so to speak. And the fact that this year was even hotter. It was 1.35 degrees Celsius above. My friends, we've got a lot to be aware of. And I ask that you be diligent, you do your homework, and you don't just freely take gifts assuming, oh, Microsoft is good, Google is good, Apple is good, all of these companies are only in it for me. You'd be very, very wrong. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. Have a wonderful day, and keep the fire alive inside you.